Medina, the legend herself. Eden is the... So, okay, we got to explain it this way, right, Eden? First and foremost, Eden is my first niece. She's my... I have... I don't know how many. I'm thinking off the top of my head. But Eden is my very first niece. She's near and dear to my heart. We even had a chance to do some ministry together. But this is Eden Marie Medina. She's my first niece, first and foremost. Secondly, she is the... Look, Gracie's in the picture, guys. If you guys didn't know, they have a cat.
We have two.
Two cats. Gracie just got up all in the picture. Well, Eden is also the sectional representative for all of the Spanish Eastern District churches in Queens. So there is a group of how many churches, Eden?
15.
15 churches, and she oversees and helps and supports all of the youth ministries in those 15 churches. Not only that, but Eden is also a board-certified music therapist on her way to a PhD, my friends. And I say that from a very proud uncle. So Eden, after that big whole long introduction,
oh God,
say hello.
Hi. I have to get my master's first.
Yeah. We gotta do that. We're going to share this live real quick, Eden, and then we're gonna add on to. Oh my goodness, we're gonna add the IG here in a second, okay? We're grateful for Eden to be here. We're just so excited. We'll get back to Facebook. We got to greet some people who are joining us. And so we want you to be a part of everything that is happening tonight. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Jesus, Gil, what's going on? Millie, hello, how are you? Missing you guys. Say hello to my wonderful niece Eden. She is here with us. For some reason, I can't share this darn thing on Facebook. We're going to talk about the next generation, and I'm still that generation, okay, guys? But we also have Pastor Myra Campos with us today. We're talking about next gen. Pastor Myra is a youth pastor in our church with Pastor Jose, who will be here in a second. He is setting up the rest of the streaming. But Pastor Myra, Pastor Jose are obviously very connected to young people. So all of our young people want to say hello. Did you just share?
I'm just going to share mine.
Yeah, that's fine. And so we're excited. Eden, how you doing in quarantine so far, baby girl?
I'm doing my best.
You're doing your best.
I keep telling people it's challenging for me, but I have to remind myself I'm in the best situation possible. I'm in a loving home. I have everything that I need here to do my work, to do my schooling. So I'm in the best situation, and I'm thankful for that.
All right, good. Eden, I'm going to go live. Request to go live with me, all right?
Cool, got you right now.
We're live on Instagram. Yep, on Instagram. We're live on Facebook. YouTube is giving us a little bit of a problem. Hello, Paula. Hello, Lisa James. Hello, family. We're here with Eden Marie Medina, and she is my niece, board-certified music therapist, and she is also pursuing her PhD. She's also a pastor's kid. She's a worshiper. She's a musician. Yeah, go live. Yeah, thank you, Myra. She's a worshiper. She's a musician, and we're just grateful. So if you are an adult on this, there you go on Instagram too. If you are an adult here, we're talking about reaching and understanding the next generation in times of crisis. Eden is that next generation. She is X years old. We don't want to put all her business out there. But she is she's there. Center yourself on Instagram, little Eden. There you go. Miguel, what's going on, dude? What's going on, everybody on Instagram? We got Eden. We're talking about reaching the next gen. Forget that, man. We got to get you in here. Just go back to Facebook. We are excited to have you guys join us. on Instagram and Facebook. We're talking about reaching and understanding the next generation. So this is a good conversation. If you're a parent, we would love for you to have your child, your teenager or your young adult with you. Kind of invite them into this conversation. It's for everyone. This is Pastor Jose, Pastor Myra, Eden Marie Medina, and so we're really excited about that. And if you're on Instagram, we're talking about reaching the next generation and understanding the next generation. And so we're really excited because Eden and Jose and Myra are really involved in connecting with the next generation. And I know that this is going to be a helpful conversation for the full family, for the adult that doesn't understand the next generation, and for the teenager or young adult that wishes to be understood. Right, Eden?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, right. I got to know you here. I hear you twice. And so today we just want to get started. Eden, tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on. Tell us how you, as a young adult who is going to school for her master's degree, who is in ministry, involved in church and all those things, how are you coping with the times of crisis? And this is a no judgment zone.
I appreciate it. First, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to have this conversation. But for me, I keep telling people, I see that there's times where people are like, oh my goodness, I'm bored. Or, oh my goodness, I have nothing to do. But I'm here and I'm still kind of like finding my rhythm. And one thing that I'm doing is I'm organizing my day as if I was still going to work, as if I was still going to school on my regular schedule. And my first 3 weeks were fantastic. My last 3 weeks, not at I mean, I was going to bed at like 11 o'clock. I was up at 7. I was going for runs. I was like talking to neighbors I had never seen before. It was like a whole new life.
We got some. Hold on, Eden. We got some feedback. I think it's because we're going live on the phone and all of this, so we might need to kill the IG. Eden, we'll just kill.
How's your IG, Eden? Is the sound off?
It seems okay.
Yeah, Isaac told us there's some feedback.
Yeah.
We keep hearing
feedback.
Yeah,
so
too.
Okay, hey guys, on Instagram, we love y'all. We got some technical issues going back and forth here. We got 2 separate computers,
on YouTube.
And so it's giving us some feedback. We would love for you to check us out on YouTube, and also on Facebook under our church page, Huntington Assembly. It's shared there. So unfortunately, we got to cut the Instagram because it's affecting all the other stuff. So love y'all. Check us out, Facebook, Reaching and Understanding the Next Generation, Facebook, YouTube. We're getting some feedback on IG, so we got to kill this line. All right? See you guys there. Bye. Okay. This was
all right. Got you.
All right, baby. So you first 3 weeks you started good.
Yeah.
Last 3 weeks hasn't been so good.
I got into this. Oh, this is new. Quarantine is different. This is my opportunity. Like I was trying to make the most of it, and then it became my new normal. And I was just like, just one more episode. Oh, another round of Fortnite. I was just letting it go. Next thing I knew, it was 3 a.m. and the rest of the world was up with me.
Right.
So I felt like there was nothing not normal about it. So getting back into the routine has been challenging.
Okay.
But
Edith, so do you find that everybody is the next generation is obviously up late at night, right? First of all, I'm not a morning person. Myra's a morning person. Jose, not so much. But is the next generation up late at night, kind of just like meandering the internet?
Yes. It was crazy when I was scrolling through TikTok and my sister and I had made a TikTok earlier in the day, and I posted it, just, posting it on my TikTok, saying, "Oh, people see it in the morning." And I was getting immediate responses. People were like, "This is so great. This is so funny." It was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I was like, what is going on? Like, regular responses, like, it's 1:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
Yeah. Just to add on that,
normal.
I had to kind of put my Snapchat on silent because at 2 in the morning, my Snapchat was going crazy because the kids were chatting at that time, and I was like, I need to sleep.
But now we're talking about 14, 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right? And then 20-something-year-olds, and then we're having this conversation about understanding the next generation and connecting with them, both from having the next generation understood and also having the adults connect with them in times of crisis. So Eden, I mean, the next generation, Jose, Myra, the next generation, they're in this crisis. They have regular pressures of life. Let's focus on high school for a moment, our high school students. Yeah. They have the regular pressures of teenage life, right? Compounded with losing, prom and graduation for the seniors, right? Or junior prom or whatever. Just using that camaraderie at school. As much as they don't like school, still the connection at school is there. Can you talk to that, Eden, a little bit about what it is to understand and connect with this next generation in the midst of crisis and them losing all these things that was so valuable to them?
Yeah, I think that when thinking about this high school age group, separate from adults or the older age generation, even college kids, their whole world is high school. There's very little outside. Whether they want to admit it or not, school is their escape from the outside world. And when they're trying to escape school, who are they going to? Their school friends.
Right.
It's their community. This is all they know. So I think the first thing in understanding where they're coming from is understanding that this is a real grief, losing this. It's something that they're losing their entire structure. When we are able as adults or just college people, able to see beyond what high school is. We know that high school is not forever because we're past it. We already know we're able to see a little further ahead. We're a little more goal-oriented, where they are just starting to build those skills, where all of high school is just all they know.
Right.
So imagine the only thing you know, the only sense of structure, the only real consistent support system for majority of the kids is now stripped away.
Right.
It's a real sense of loss. It's real grieving. And losing your prom, losing your graduation, losing your senior trip. These are all things that as a society, we have marked as you doing this now transitions you to adulthood.
It's a milestone. It's a coming of age marker. Yeah.
And sometimes I see on social media people are like, oh, it's okay, like, life has so much more to offer you. And these are attempts of kind words, attempts to be comforting, but it's diminishing their grief, diminishing that this is something, the only thing that they've really understood, and is now gone.
Right. Wow.
One thing is there's a psychotherapist, Winnicott. He talks about just different ages of life transitional objects, and it gets you from one stage of life to the next. And when it's taken away, it's super detrimental to development. So we want to support our young people by listening to them in this time. I hear you. You're allowed to be frustrated. You're allowed to cry about this. It really is terrible because it's the only thing you've been thinking about for the past 4 years of your life. Imagine just, I can't wait till I go to prom. I can't wait till I go to prom. And sometimes as adults being past that, we feel like, oh, it's silly, it's little. But when you're thinking about this constantly for 4 years, and it's not even like they had a setup, like, oh, you may not have problems. It was abruptly taken.
Right.
And we have to help transition them now. It's saying, hey, I want to listen to you. I want to agree with you. And that's something that sounds a little funny, especially with all the stuff going on around COVID. But for them, this is a real grieving process.
Yeah.
And that's okay to sit with them. It's okay to grieve with them. It's not feeding into anything. It's genuinely being there to support them through it.
So, Eden, what you're saying is that our young people, our teenagers, are in a grieving process, even as we speak, and we shouldn't minimize what they're grieving, right? Myra, what are you seeing with that?
I definitely see how this situation has exacerbated the trauma and the triggers that our young people have had in their life. We have kids that struggle with depression and anxiety, with self-harm, and they do so when they're alone in their rooms, when they're home. So what you were saying, like, we do need to sit and listen to them. We've got to make time, especially parents. I know it's so hard to, sit when you have a million other things to do and worry about. But our teenagers, what they really want is emotional connection with their parents. And they lost that abruptly, like you said, from their high school,
everybody else, yeah,
their friends, right? So they can't hug anyone. Like, physical affection, just that hand on the shoulder, the fact that we have to be 6 feet apart. We're quarantining, so it's okay, right?
Yes, it's okay. We've been together since March 15th. All right, so for everybody who wants to judge us for being close, we've been close since March 15th. We're fine.
But, like, for our young people, it has been such a struggle, because they need that to continue to pour in the beliefs of their loved, right? That they have a purpose in this world, that they have a role that's important in their family structure. So they need that to be validated, and the first step to that validation is sitting down and listening to their feelings.
Right. That's so good. And I think that, when we talk about, connecting, right? I have younger kids, but when I get home from work, the first thing I don't want to hear, the first thing is, all the things that everybody's done today. I need some time to cleanse myself of the day, right? But if we never give them that time, right, that's when we run into the issues. So today's conversation is not necessarily being judgmental. It's about really, seriously, we've said it 5,000 times already, but it's understanding and connecting with the next generation in times of crisis. And so listening to what the next generation has to say. If you're a grandparent listening to us, how your grandchildren, talking to your grandchildren, right? Where maybe their parents are a little busy, maybe the grandparent can step in, or if you're an aunt or an uncle, whatever it might be, we can always be a listening ear for the next generation. And so we're learning one thing, Eden and Myra, what you guys are teaching us today is to listen. So if we're taking notes, how do we understand and connect the next generation? We listen better. And Eden, what are the things that we really should be paying attention to? Like, there's the fluff of the day and then the seriousness of the day, right? What are some of the things that you feel like, and when you're ministering to young people or talking, like, what are some of the things, or maybe the key words or the key things that maybe we should be listening to better understand the next generation?
Yeah, I think The best thing to do, honestly, is listen to the jokes that they make. Because
I lost her.
She froze.
She froze. All right. She froze. This hasn't happened to us before.
No.
We've always been able to do this without freezing. But I bet you what has happened is that someone else jumped on the Wi-Fi at her house and kicked her off. And so we're here. We're gonna figure this technical difficulty out really quick, and we're gonna get back on this. But we're talking about connecting with the next generation.
Yeah. So the first step is listening to our young people, and she was saying listening to their jokes, because 90% of what they're joking about, there's a serious truth in enveloped in that joke.
For sure.
So it's really important to listen to those key clues, because there's some validity to that. I think also just like monitoring what they're watching. I mean, what parents may not be aware of is that a lot of the apps that they download for free have advertisement embedded into that software, that application.
Right.
And some of the advertisements open them up and expose them to things that are very tempting, very alluring, like dating sites and other types of things that right now, since they're at their peak in loneliness, they're absolutely going to take a bite for that, and open up their world to something completely uncontrollable.
Right.
So it's really important to monitor what they're going on, what they're watching, what they're posting on social media.
We lost Eden because her Wi-Fi went out. They may have not paid the bill.
I'm back.
There you go. Eden, Pastor Myra was telling us not only to pay attention to the jokes, but also monitor what they're seeing, right? Because
for sure.
Just put Facebook back up here. Just because we're seeing that they're exposed to a lot more because they're home on their phones a lot longer.
Yeah.
For sure. The reason I bring up their humor is, like we're saying, we want emotional connection. They want to relate. And sometimes if it's not the norm in the house where we're not talking as often, sometimes they'll slip in these jokes that it's like, you said, that was a little shady. There was a little something there. And it's really listening to that and saying like, whoa, like leaning into that a little bit, like, where did that come from? Things like that, like casual conversation that can go a little deeper than what the house is regularly used to.
Right. So like one of our friends from our church, Sophia, she has 2 teenage girls at home, and she works hard for her family, and she's saying that she's getting better at listening, because listening is not an easy thing, right? And so I don't have a teenager yet, even though my son turns 11 on Friday, and obviously you don't have a teenager, Eden. I call you all my sisters. And Pastor Myra and Pastor Jose will have a teenager in the future. But it's easy for us to say, hey, listen, when we don't understand it, right? But listening, just Sophia, let me tell you, man, just getting better at that is something that's important. Luna, listening, like Luna says that she has one. Yes, Luna. Listening to your teenager, listening to those jokes, what they put out there, it's important for us because that's how we connect. That's how we can understand what they're saying. And they may not outright just say everything we want them to say, but they may say it in a joke, or they may say it in a show that they're watching that might correlate to what they're experiencing. And so in the busyness of life, and we're not trying to add more things on the plates of people who have teenagers and young adults, but we are trying to give you some helpful hints to connect and understand this next generation. And so by listening to those things and by taking time to listen to them, I think that's huge. I think
And
that's huge. Go ahead.
yeah, and sometimes there's a pressure from the parents to feel the need to respond. Like I have to say something. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes listening to the rant of your child, hearing the fluff of the day, like them telling you how they lost the sock in the dryer, like all of the things that it's like, why are you telling me this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's them wanting to just talk to you. And when you give them the space to do that, even when it's like, all right, like
Sure.
get to the point of your story. It's the idea that they want to share with you is a huge thing. And giving them the space to do that is really important. And just being like, wow, you had a really bad day.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to have, this super amazing wisdom nugget to drop.
Right.
Just being there and available and listening does so much more than what you think.
We actually had, when we weren't in quarantine, we had a series on friendships, and we were talking to the youth and asking them, like, what quality identifies a true friend. And the majority of them said, someone who listens to me, someone that I
Yeah.
can trust. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell them anything and they won't judge me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what they're missing out on right now. And that's the role a parent should fulfill, right? The safest place where your child can go and share and not be judged. That's what they're looking for. And parents, who better than you, who loves your child unconditionally, to provide that?
Yeah, and growing up, I'm so thankful for my mother because she was my best friend. She's still my best friend. But growing up as a teenager in junior high and in high school and all the stuff that I was going through, all the stuff that I was seeing, she was so open that I would run to her and tell her all my secrets, all the things I was doing. And I wasn't afraid because she was so open to listen. She would always listen to me. And I'm so thankful for that because anything that I felt like I was gonna do wrong, she's like, "Hey, Papi, don't go that way because this is gonna happen." And because she was my best friend, I listened to her, and I was like, "All right, I'm not gonna do that, right?" And when I did fall and I failed, I would go to her and I tell her, "Hey, I did this mistake." She's like, "Okay, don't worry, just get up again." And you try again, right? And just having that from your parent is very important, right? And I'm thankful for my mom that she was there to listen to everything I had to say, right? Even though she didn't like it, she still heard it and gave me advice. So I'm
Right.
thankful for that.
Right. And so, Eden, we have a question here that we want to pose to you. There is a family who has adopted a niece and adopted two nieces, and their parents are away right now. And they're dealing with the reality of their biological parents not being here, and now they've been thrust out of school. You are a music therapist, but you understand psychology and things like that. What are some of the things that we can give them as helpful hints or suggestions to kind of deal with that teenager specifically, who is kind of dealing with all these emotions?
Yeah. I think in this special predicament, it's reminding them where their identity lies.
Good.
Because, like we said, like the school identity has been ripped from them. They don't have their friends to kind of lean on to kind of reflect emotions off of, things like that. Now, it's now in this new home with these other people who are not biological parents, but reminding them where their identity lies.
Right.
They're good people. You're in a good home. You have these morals, teaching them, the right ways, and that is who they are. It's reminding them that their identity doesn't lie in these other places that are wavering, but who they are as teenagers, who they are with, I don't know what their situation is, but Christ in their life. Their Christ, that Christ in them is their identity, and that's not wavering. Will help give them something solid, something real to rely on and hold on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, to to Joanne who asked that question, you're breaking up a little with the AirPods, Eden. Um, giving them identity. Eden mentioned identity in who they are in Christ, and giving them that source doesn't come from the familiar of maybe the parent who isn't away or from the school that's been taken, but for the identity comes from who Christ is and kind of instilling that in them. One of the other questions that came up here, Eden, is a mother who has an 18-year-old who's about to graduate, who's also afraid of losing her daughter after she goes away to school or whatever the case might be. What suggestions would you give to a parent who kind of has that fear of, I'm not sure what the future holds for my child in my home?
Yeah, I think that, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think that's something that's really important, is trusting who you were as a parent, as you were in your home, and trusting them as they go out, that they're going to carry these morals and values that you've instilled in them, and giving them the space to grow, giving them the space to discover themselves, but still be very present. Like you said, there's a distance, especially if your kid goes away, but still making yourself available for them to always come back to you. Making yourself available for them to say, hey, yes, this is where I am right now, but I have a home where I'm supported and I'm loved. Because as they grow, they're going to do this, they're going to find who they are as an independent adult. But that never negates the value of you as a parent.
Good.
That doesn't negate the good work that you've already done and planting seeds in their life.
Good.
So trust that the seeds that you have planted and your prayers are going to continue to water those seeds that your child is not there. And this new life experience could possibly be the sunlight that they need to just develop into the person that you've been praying for them to develop into. I think that sometimes there's a fear that, oh my goodness, my child is leaving. But trust that you're watering this seed, and now this is just a sunlight that they need to continue to grow into something bigger, brighter, better. And they know that they can always come home to you.
Right. That's really good, Eden. That's really, really good. And there was something that you talked about before the questions came up, Eden, was this idea of pressure, right? That our next generation, not just our teenagers, but also young adults, that they feel they have these different pressures. Can you talk to that a little bit about our young people and kind of how we're able to understand them and understand their pressures that they're going through?
Yeah, I think a lot of the pressure comes from this idea of all the ideas that are out, all the ideas that are out attainable to them. Like they can go and research anything. So we've seen a lot of posts like, oh my goodness, anybody under the age of 30 has been through 2 recessions, there's now quarantine. There's this pressure to live your best life, even in these terrible, just kind of scenarios.
Right.
And now that there's this younger generation that's seeing this young 30s who are complaining about all these things, and they also feel the pressure. I have to live my best life now because when I get older, it just gets worse.
Right.
And sometimes it's, man, I have to get to school now so I can work hard and just play hard later. Or sometimes it's the opposite, where I have to live my life now because as I get older, it just goes downhill.
Right.
I think that a lot of that pressure can be alleviated to reminding them to enjoy the moment that they're in.
That's good.
So giving them the chance to slow down, because everything in their life is fast. If I need an answer, I ask Alexa and it gives it to me in 3 seconds. I have technology and I'm able to have anything I want. Amazon will deliver milk if I need it. So everything is so fast paced. giving them the time to sit back and experience and enjoy whatever season it is that they're in will alleviate a lot of that pressure to either live your life, whatever that looks like right now, or to bulldoze to the next stage of life so you can live your best life.
Right. And I mean, in from the biblical point of view, to this pressure, right? It's, Solomon felt this pressure to try to live all these different types of lives and found out that all of it was meaningless, right? And I think it ties into back to what you said before about identity. Um, Solomon tries it all and realizes that life is empty, right? But what has value is what's found in Jehovah, right? What's found in who God was. And so I think that, moving people to not buckle under that pressure, but allowing that pressure to point them to a true source of relief, which would be Christ, I think is very important as well.
It's so funny that you chose the words hurry. I'm reading this book. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And he talks about how Jesus was never in a hurry. His schedule was full, yet he never came off hurried. And he said the rootedness in the moment and connectedness to God, other people, and himself weren't the byproducts of a laid-back personality or pre-Wi-Fi worlds. They were the outgrowths of a way of life, a whole new way to be human that Jesus put on display in story after story.
Excellent.
Jesus.
That's so good.
Oh, this has messed me up that I'm still on this page. Like, I just keep rereading it. Because, man, aren't we so hurried all the time? We're trying to rush through life, and teenagers, they're trying to grow up fast. Like, they want to make adult decisions right here, right now. But their accessibility to all of the information on the internet doesn't equal to the maturity to handle that information. And so we've got to understand that their emotional maturity is not there yet. So we've got to also give them grace, because they think they know it all, but they don't, right?
I think
we've been there.
I
mean, I'm still trying to tell God my plans. You know, like, what's going on with the timing, right? But I think that we also need to extend a lot of grace to our youth, to our young people, to ourselves, because we could be our worst critic, Right. Like, some parents may be feeling like, I'm not a good parent right now. Like, I'm just annoyed to the 10th degree, right? And some kids feel like, I'm not a good kid. Like, I can't focus. Like, the fact that they were thrusted into remote learning, that's traumatic, right? Because they don't know how to do that. And so they've got to have discipline, but they may not be disciplined right now for that. So I think it's giving a lot of grace and not hurrying through life, right? But like Jesus, he put it on display. Let's learn how to be in the moment, be present, and not be so hard on each other and on ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
And then so Eden, that's great, Myra. And then so empathizing with young people today, right? It's this reality. I mean, I'm 37, right? I'll put it out there. 20 years ago, I graduated from high school, which is crazy, right? I graduated.
That's crazy.
20 years ago, I graduated from high school. But I remember what it was to get into an argument with my mom because I thought I knew it all, right? And my mom would always tell me, obviously, Danny, you don't know it all, right? And she still tells me that at 37. That's neither here nor there. But it's empathizing, right? It's instead of creating kind of a judgmental, critical, everything is a teaching moment. I think going back to what you've been saying, Eden, is really listening. It's really showing them where their identity is. A lot of times we think identity is rooted in the success of our children. And I think also we put our identity as parents rooted in the success of our children, right? If they do
Yeah.
good, that means I'm doing good. Tammy, I'm throwing years out there. I'm gonna shout you out next, Tammy. All right, I'm shouting you out. But you know, we put our sense of joy in my devotion a day ago. I shared with the team here. It was whatever brings us joy will be found in what we celebrate and what we grieve. And
Yeah.
so for our young people, what brings them joy may be found in the things that we have embedded in them, what we have told them success is, and what we have demanded of them. And when they don't meet those when they don't meet the demands that we as parents put on them, they fall into the routine of, man, I'm a failure, or I can't make it, or I'll never make it. But I remember my dad. I'm a man of many words. My dad wasn't a man of a lot of words, but when he spoke, you listened. And he would simply say like little one-liners that were just always memorable. But he never sat down and gave me a super long talk. He just kind of just told me, this is this. He told me this straight out. He goes, Danny, if you put God first, everything else is gonna work out. Like, and I was like in the moment of like, I don't know what to do with my career. I don't know what to do with this. All he said was, if you put God first, everything's gonna work out, and walked away. And so I think Eden mentioned that earlier, right? That everything doesn't have to be an object lesson. Everything doesn't have to be a 2-hour sermon to our children. But if we can turn around and be better listeners, I think we can empathize with them and be less critical and judging. You want to speak into that a little more, Eden?
Yeah, I think you really hit it on the head. What does empathy look like? It's being there and being present. It's saying, I hear you and I'm with you. And sometimes we'll provide them with this fix it thing, or, I've been there, I did that. And there's a time and a place for that. But as they're sharing their concerns, as they're grieving, as they're talking about, like Myra said, this trauma that they're experiencing, it's a time to just listen. It's a time to be with them and saying, I know that everything around you is shaking. I know the rug was ripped underneath you. You can lean on me as a parent. I'm here to be that rock for you. Kind of like you said, I remember being young.
Being young. Says the 20-something-year-old, being young.
Being 17 and getting rejected from all the colleges. I was a smart girl, but I was getting rejected from school after school after school. And I was broken. I had placed my identity in my success in getting into these schools. And I wasn't applying to Princeton.
Right.
I was applying to like Queens College.
Right.
The CUNY school. St. John's was rejecting me like a normal everyday school.
Right.
And I was like broken.
Right.
And I remember my mom telling me, pray. She was like, this anxiety you're feeling is because you're not laying at the feet of Jesus.
Right.
And I remember being upset because she said that. But it made me upset because she was right.
Right.
That me being angry, being like, to pray about it. But that was legitimately the answer. I was hurting, and I was telling everyone in their mothers about it, except for Jesus.
Right.
And her words, you're anxious, pray about it. She kept always Philippians 4:6-7, and that was always my life verse growing up. And she would just say either Philippians 4:6-7, because she listened to me, heard me, and rather than saying, "Oh, don't worry about it, a school's gonna accept you. You can always, go to your backup. You can always go to, whatever this," which are practical answers.
Right.
She sat, she listened to me, and she said, "You're anxious, pray about it." And eventually, after I kept crying and I kept complaining, I knew that was the right answer, because when everything else was shaking, my mom was sturdy.
Right.
She was constantly grounded and constantly there for me. And I was able to rely on her words and say, you know what? I think it's time to pray about this.
Right, and I mean that's excellent, and I think that parents we may underestimate just being there, right? A lot of times we want to say things, but if we just point them back to simple things like pray, you're anxious, right? That's what Eden is teaching us. Pray, you're anxious, or what she learned from her mom. I think those are simple things that we need to teach our children, and patience, and having patience with them. Of all of us on the phone call, Jose is probably the most patient person, right? And so
hands down,
the most patient guy. My kids will be running around the house and they're jumping off the walls. I'm like losing it, and Jose's laughing and he's okay. Very, very patient guy. Jose, where do you think you got the patience from, and how important is that for the next generation to not always just see like the next comment, but people who are just being there?
Well, the patience I got from, of course, my parents. They were very patient with us, and like I always tell everyone, I never saw my parents fight ever in front of us, right? So I never knew what it meant to fight other than just with my siblings. But they taught me, right? And I was learning from them, seeing them, how they reacted to different situations in their life, the way they handled it. Is then I'm like, okay, then if they're calm, then I should be calm too, right? I don't need to be afraid or be worried. And my parents weren't like full on Christians, they were Catholics. So they knew about God, so they would always tell me, just trust in God. The same way we trust God, He will take care of us. He took care of us. He will take care of you. So I'm thankful for those examples, right? If my parents were always fighting, were always scared and afraid, then I would be that kind of person, right? But I'm learning from them, and that's where I am so calm. I'm a little too calm at certain moments,
sometimes,
where it kind of seems sometimes it seems like I don't care.
Like when people fall off ladders, like
I'm married to him.
No, but Jose, I think, is teaching us a great biblical principle, right? So if we look at Jesus in the storm, right, it teaches how to respond to our storm. Jesus was extremely confident in who he was, and he knew exactly who he was. He created the oceans and the winds and the waves, and so they were going to listen when he spoke. And Jose is teaching us that the way that our children see us interact in times of crisis, I think really reflect, and those are the real teachable moments,
right?
Not in the speeches, but in how we in actions, right? In how we respond in times of crisis. Eden, we want to close out our time. We've been having a great conversation, but give us a message of hope for everyone listening, and then we're gonna ask for your prayers and we're gonna pray all together. But Eden, would you give us a message of hope for us in times of crisis for the next generation?
Yeah, I think that an important lesson to take away from this is being present, being there, but ultimately reminding your young adult that the same God who, calmed the storm, the same God who made the blind man see, the same God who made the deaf to hear, is the same God today.
Right.
And although right now our circumstance may seem chaotic, or our circumstance may be really uncomfortable, God is still God.
Right.
One thing that I'm reminding myself is no matter what happens to me, no matter what happens to those around me, God still wins.
Right.
And in the midst of whatever it is that you're going through as a family, whatever you're going through as a youth, as a young adult, God still wins.
Right.
He's already won. And although this corona thing may be super overwhelming, remember that God already won.
Amen. Amen. That's great, Eden. That's great. God has the victory. There's something that we've heard before a lot. Even though everything looks bad, God is still good, right? And nothing removes him from his throne. And we want to close this time together. Thank you for sharing that, Eden. Eden is the sectional rep of the Queen section, 15 churches, where she helps support and build leadership amongst young people and disciples inside of the church. She is a board certified music therapist on her way to her PhD. And she is an awesome musician, singer, worshiper, and we're just so grateful. And above all of that, the most important thing is that she's my niece. And I love her very much. Eden, you demonstrated so much wisdom today in the way that you spoke. You demonstrated so much knowledge and appreciation. And I just want to reiterate to the parents, I don't want you to feel judged. I don't want you to feel like, man, I messed up this last 10 years. Well, today, right now, is a new day. There's new grace and there's new mercy. And we can listen and we can help and we can be more attentive. And so thank you for reminding of that, Eden. Thank you for Myra, Jose, for your input today. And we want to close our time with prayer. So if you're listening to us, thank you for taking the time to listen to us. It was a little longer than what we thought, but it was beautiful time of just learning and gleaming from each other. But if you have a prayer request today, we want to end this time of prayer. Number one, we're praying for all the parents of teenagers, right? All the parents of teenagers and young adults that are in quarantine, in their homes all alone, all day long. Your child doesn't wake up till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. We're praying for the parents and for the teenagers who have to deal with the parents. And so we're praying for that. But if you have a prayer request today, we wanted to have these different kind of talks, heart-to-heart talks in times of crisis, because we really want to help you out, and really learn from each other, so that we can put it into practice each and every day of our lives. So if that's you here today and you have a prayer request, we would love for you to add it in the comments, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Church Online. We would love for you to add it there. We want to pray with you. We want to pray for you. Of course, we're always remembering our frontline workers, our essential workers, from the grocery store clerk to the neurosurgeon. We're remembering everybody in these times. We want to remember those people in prayer. So we're praying for you, Luna, and for Joanne, families with teenagers, Sophia with 2 teenagers, double the trouble. But we want to just lift you guys up in prayer. So if you have a prayer request, we would love for you to do it at this time. And
Derek's father, he's in the hospital.
I'm praying for Derek's dad, who's in the hospital. I'm praying for all those who are sick and burdened right now with the COVID-19 virus. We're praying for Pauline from our old church. We're praying. We're praying for you, Luna. We're praying for you, Luna. Thank you.
We're gonna go back to work.
We're praying for you to go back to work. That God will keep you healthy and strong. Luna is a nurse practitioner, and she hasn't been able to work, and now she's going back. Hopefully, she can go back to work. We're praying for you, Luna. We remember you in our prayer.
For Brianna, she's going to choose her college. She's graduating. She's a graduating senior.
We have a few. We have like 3 or 4 seniors.
A couple of
graduating seniors. We're praying for all the graduating seniors.
Peter.
And all those guys. Eden, would you close us out in a time of prayer? Thank you for that message of hope that God is still on the throne, that He's already won. And we are not losing. The Bible teaches us that the gates of hell will now prevail against the church. Right. And so we are praying for the church. So Eden, would you close us out in the time of prayer tonight?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that you have given us. Thank you for allowing us to come together, my God, despite the distance, despite what's going on in this time. Lord, thank you for reminding us that you are still good. Thank you for just continuing to remind us to place you at the center of everything, the center of our relationships, the center of our hurt, my God, the center of our worries, our anxieties, Lord, reminding us to present that to you at the end of the day, my God. You see the need in this place, my God. You see the petitions that have been presented to you, Lord. We pray for those who are sick, my God, and we pray for healing over each and every one of them, because you are the God of miracles. You can do great things, Jesus. And we pray that you continue to keep your hand over the situation, my Lord, for all of those who are affected by this virus, my God. We want to pray for our frontline workers, my Lord, that you keep them healthy, that you keep them brave and day after day facing this right in the face, my God. And we pray your hand of protection over them, my God, over their health, my God, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, Jesus. That you just continue to guard them so that they can keep doing what you've called them to do this time, my God. We pray for the parents and adults and for youth, my Lord, that you continue to give them the wisdom and the discernment to handle their situations with grace, my God. Remind them, my God, that you are with them in this parenting time, my God, that you are leading them and that you are the center of their relationships with their kids. You are the center of their homes, my God. And thank you, my God, for the opportunity to even parent, because that is a blessing in itself, Lord. Lord, we pray for these youth, my God, who are facing these challenges, who are facing these hardships, who may feel like nobody hears them, that they're alone, my God. Remind them that you are with them, my God. I pray that you send people to them, my Lord, to guide them, to comfort them, to do life with them in this time, my God. Remind them that they are not alone, that they are heard, that you have called them for more than just what's going on in their lives right now. That you have destined them for greater things, Jesus. We pray for our young adults, my God, who may be struggling, my Lord. That you continue to allow them to go through life, my God, and jump all these hurdles that they may be facing, but with your strength, with your wisdom, my God, your knowledge. We pray that you can keep them strong, continue to keep them pushing, because this is just the beginning for them. Remind them that this is not the end for them, Lord.
Thank you,
We
Lord.
pray that you continue to be at the center of households, my God. That you continue to make yourself known in the house, that your name is an everyday name, my God. So they continue to go to you, because as Pastor Daniel said, when we put you first, everything else falls into place. We want to pray right now, my God, for Huntington Church, my God, for their pastor, for their leadership, for Jose Navarro, for Pastor Danny, his family, that they continue doing the work that you have called them to do at this time. Continue to give them wisdom, to keep moving forward, to continue to spread your word, to just make your name known, my God. Thank you, my Lord, for the opportunity to serve you again in this place. We pray that every year is blessed and that every person can come to know you better and deeper through this. We thank you, we love you, and in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Eden, for that. Thank you, Pastor Jose, Pastor Myra. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. We are actually unsure what we're doing on Friday. We'll figure that out, let you guys know. But we are definitely back Sunday morning.
Yes.
We are preaching God over crisis, and I'll be sharing the word on Sunday. Out of the book of Romans, Eden. Yeah, I told Eden and Jose the book of Romans. Probably not too good, but we did it anyway. So we'll be preaching on Friday, Romans chapter 5, God over crisis. And so we are just so excited to see you guys. Thank you for joining. We love you. May God bless you and may God keep you.
God bless you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.